Hello guys, I'm Jasmeet and welcome to Blogging Unplugged. Now in this video we are going to discuss everything you need to know about the WordPress 6.1 update. Now we have already done a part 1 of this video, which was before the actual WordPress 6.1 was released. So that is basically tagged as WordPress 6.1 beta if you want to check. Now some of the features are very similar or exactly the same that we have discussed, and there are quite a lot of new features that we have discussed in this video. Also, we have shared a few code snippets that you can use to basically activate some of the features. Now link to those code snippets is in the description box below. Now as this video is a long one, you will find timestamps to every topic covered in the description box below with the links to our socials. So make sure you basically follow us on other platforms as well. Now in case you have any queries, feel free to comment down below and I will try and help. So with that said, let me just start sharing the screen, and in the meantime you make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel and turn on the post notification bell. Hello guys and welcome to the screen capture of this video. As you can see, we have 3 tabs opened in the browser. The first one is for the WordPress 6.1. The second one is for the WordPress 6.0, and the third one is the article that we have written on WordPress 6.1. Now this article contains some of the code snippets. For example, this one right over here. Okay, so we will be discussing some of these code snippets, and you can use these code snippets from this article. Okay, I won't be discussing every code snippet that I have shared on this in this article. I will be discussing most of them but not all of them. Okay, so you will find them in this article. I've shared a link to it in the description box below. Now again, for these 2 tabs, I will be using these 2 tabs for the comparison purposes. So keeping this in mind, the first change while we are in the dashboard is introduced in the WordPress theme repository that is built inside your WordPress dashboard. Now to see this change, what I'm going to do is I'm going to visit themes right over here. I'm going to click add new. Now the first change that you will come across is the addition of this block themes filter. So when I will click this, it will show you all of the block themes. Now this filter was missing in WordPress 6.0. This has been introduced in WordPress 6.1. Now let's head over to WordPress 6.0. You can see, head over to themes, click add new, and you can see the filter is missing from here. Okay, now the next change that we are going to discuss has been introduced in this help tab right over here, and here you can see the block themes help has been included. Right, you can click right over here and it will show you. Right, this is all of the support information. Right, this was missing in WordPress 6.0. click help right over here and you can see it is missing. Okay, so the documentation, this help documentation kind of was missing from inside the dashboard, and now it has been added. So these are basically the 2 changes that have been introduced in the WordPress theme repository in WordPress 6.1. Now moving on from the changes to the WordPress theme repository, the next topic that we are going to discuss is the introduction or addition of a new block theme in WordPress 6.1. Now every year WordPress releases a new theme with its last core update of the year. So WordPress 6.1 was the last core update for 2022, hence the theme is named after that year. So basically the theme is named after the coming year. So this year it was 2023. So this is the theme right over here. Now when you will install WordPress, any fresh new WordPress install will come with this theme pre-installed. So we'll have to keep in mind. Now if you are installing WordPress 6.1, any new install will come with this theme pre-activated. Okay, now to see this theme, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click editor right over here, and it will take me to the site editor. Now first things first, 2023 is a minimalist theme and it comes with 11 style variations. Okay, you can see, click right over here and go to browse styles, and you can see all of these style variations. You can click right over here and the styles will be implemented instantly. You can see, you can make the changes and then click save. Okay, Now once you have selected any of these styles, you can always make changes to the font, to the background colors, to any of the colors for that matter. You can customize it as per your requirement. Okay, so this is the first thing that you will have to keep in mind. Now the second thing that you will find in the 2023 theme is the introduction of new fonts. Okay, now to see this, what I am going to do is go back, click typography right over here, select text, and you can see the fonts drop down is right over here, and these are the new fonts that have been introduced. So this is another thing that you will have to keep in mind, that the 2023 theme comes with a bunch of new fonts. Now moving on from the fonts, now another thing that you will that you need to know is that the 2023 theme basically comes with fluid typography. It has been introduced in the WordPress 6.1, and in case you are not familiar with fluid typography, then I'm going to give you a very basic definition of it, and that is that the typography will adjust itself according to the screen size. Okay, so this is the basic purpose of the fluid typography. And in case you want to see, then a basic thing that I can make you see right now is, let's just head over to the theme file editor right over here, click the theme styles right over here. I'm going to search, not this search box, so I'm going to search, click right over here, click F. And you can see the fluid is true right over here. Now you can again see the drop cap is missing in the 2023 theme as well. So you can activate it by removing this false value right over here, change it to true, and the drop cap will be active in case you are using drop cap. Okay, so this is the new 2023 theme for you. It is a very minimalist theme. You can make changes to it as per your requirement, comes with a bunch of new fonts, and you can use it for any of your new creations. Give this theme a try, let us know what you think about it. Okay, so now that you are somewhat familiar with the new 2023 theme, the next topic that we are going to discuss is the changes or improvements to the site editor in WordPress 6.1. Now I have made a bunch of changes to both the setups in WordPress 6.1 and 6.0. I will show you those changes once we reach to the point where we are discussing those changes. Okay, now the first change or improvement that you will see is the addition of more templates in WordPress 6.1. Now to see this change, let's first head over to WordPress 6.0, which is right over here. Click this, go to templates, and you can see the default selection is this that comes with the theme, right? And in case you want to add more templates, you can click right over here, select a template type that you want to add. For example, you want to add a template for a tag, date, category. You can just select right over here and design that template, right? Now this selection has been increased in WordPress 6.1 because you can see right over here the single post type is right over here, right? But there is no other option to create, and for custom taxonomies and post types there is no option. So this has been this has changed in WordPress 6.1, and you can click templates right over here. This selection is almost identical as you can see, but when you will click right over here, you will see you can create for pages, the additional one. You can see tags and taxonomies are from there before. Then the single item post is right over here. The single item custom post type, another custom post type that I have created, custom taxonomy, and custom templates, right? So these are all of the templates that you can add now. Now coming to what changes I did make to the setup to show you this. So what I've done here is I have used this CPT UI plugin to add custom post types and taxonomies. Okay, so I have added two custom post types. This is WordPress 6.0, exactly identical, custom post type 1 and custom post type 2. Go right here, you can see CPT UI, custom post type 1, custom post type 2, and in post you can see example taxonomy 1, example custom taxonomy 2, and let's go here, example custom taxonomy 1 and example custom taxonomy 2. So you can see right over here the custom post types and taxonomies are present, however those are missing from this list. So this is the first change or improvement that you will see in for the templates, right, in WordPress 6.1. Now another change that is very related to the change that we have just discussed is the ability to create templates for a specific item. For example, you just want to create a separate page for a category. Okay, now this feature was missing in WordPress 6.0 and now it has been added to WordPress 6.1. so let's just say, like, I want to create a category, a template for a category right over here. For example, I have a category 1. Does it allow me to create a category for this specific category? So let me just add a category first. From here, let's go to categories, and you can see I have a category right over here. So I could create it if it would allow me to. So I'll select categories right over here. There is no selection, just simply takes me to the editor to create that to create the template basically. Right now, let's head over to WordPress 6.1 and select categories right over here. And now it gives me this option right over here. You can see either I could create a template for all items, which is for every category the template would be the same, or I could create it for a specific item. When I will click this item right over here, it will allow me to select one. So for example, if I want a different template for category 1, then I could do that. I could just select it right from here and it would allow me to create that. So this is another change that you will see in WordPress 6.1, which is the ability to create templates for specific items, and wherever you have that item you will be able to create that. For example, you will be able to create it for tags, categories, pages, posts. So you could select, the selection would be pretty much the similar. Okay, so this is another change that you will see. Now moving on, the next change that you will come across is the addition of template parts, or you will be able to add template parts using the quick inserter or the block inserter. Not the quick inserter, but the block inserter, right? So to see this change, what I'm going to do is we'll head over to WordPress 6.0, click the block inserter right over here. It's on blocks, you can see right over here, and we'll type in template, and you can see there are three options: the template part, the header, and the footer. Now these are the only options that you get. Okay, now this has changed in WordPress 6.1, and let's just head over to here and add this. You can see it by default starts from pattern, so you will have to select blocks right over here and type in template. See, you can see there are more options available in WordPress 6.1. So this is another minor change that you will see, is that now you could add the template parts basically using the block inserter. Okay, so this is another change or improvement that you will see in WordPress 6.1. Now, while we are on the topic of template parts, it is important to know that there is another change that you will notice, and that is the replace option for the template parts has been moved to the ellipsis menu from the toolbar. Now, to see this change, what I am going to do is I'm going to head over to WordPress 6.0, which is right over here. Select this, you can see, and the option for replace is right over here. You will click this option and it will open the modal. You can choose a header and it will replace it, right? Now this has changed in WordPress 6.1. As I said, this option has been moved. So this option has been moved to this ellipsis menu right over here. You can click this option and there is this replace header option. You will click this option and it will show you the template parts for the header. You can select this and it will replace it. Now here another change that you will notice is in the modal, right? This is the modal that opens up and you can see there is a search bar right over here, and this search bar was missing from here. Now moving on, another very similar change that you will notice in template parts is that the edit option from the ellipsis menu that was present in the ellipsis menu in WordPress 6.0 has been moved onto the editor, onto the toolbar basically of the template part. Now to see this change, we are in WordPress 6.1. So let's just select this and you can see the option for editing is right over here. You can click this and edit this part. Let's just click this option and it will take you to the template editor, right? And you can make changes and then move on from there, right? Now this option was in WordPress 6.0 as well, and this option was here. You can see edit a header, click and it will take you to the template editor, right? So this is another change that you will see, that the edit option has been moved to the ellipsis menu, whereas has been moved to the toolbar, and the replace option has been moved to the ellipsis menu in WordPress 6.1. You can see right over here, edit is on the toolbar and replace is on the ellipsis menu. So this is another change that will come across. Now, after the template parts, the next topic that we are going to discuss is the improvements to the style settings in WordPress 6.1, where the global style settings for headings and buttons have been added. Okay, to see this change, what I am going to do is I'm going to head over to WordPress 6.0. Click the style settings right over here. So here you can see typography. Let's just click this, and you can see the elements for which you can change typography, or you can set typography is just for the text and the links. Similarly, in the colors, you can see the background colors are here for the background, basically the text and the links, right? Now this has changed in WordPress 6.1, and let's just click style settings right over here, go to the typography, and you can see headings and buttons is the first option, the additional options. You can see comparison. Let's just go typography, text and links, and headings and buttons, right? So these are the two additional options. And in colors, let's just head over to colors right over here. You can see headings and buttons, right? So this is the change. This is the basic change that you will see. Now let's just go through these options once, and let's just go through headings first in typography. Okay, so let's just click this, and when you will click this option right over here, you can see first it allows you to select a heading, which is I could select H1 and select the font, change the size, appearance, line height, letter spacing, letter case, right? Similarly H2, and I can go ahead and make the changes basically, right? So this is for the headings, right? Now let's just go and see for buttons. I'll select buttons. So you can see again the drop down for the fonts. I could select a font family. All of the fonts are available right over here. Then I could change the size. I could reset the options. I could select the size units depending on my requirement, the line height, and the appearance. You can see thin, extra light, and everything is right over here. So this is basically the global typography settings for both buttons and headings. Now heading on to the colors, let's go back, click colors right over here. Again, let's go to headings right over here, and you can see you can select text color for all headings level or all heading levels, or you can select individual ones from right over here. You can select from theme colors, default. You can see solid or gradient background color for headings. Okay, you can make all of those changes. In case you want to select custom colors, click this option right over here, select a custom color, and that will be applied. Similarly for H2, H3, H4, depending on your requirements, you can select the heading level, make changes, and then save, right? Very simple. Now let's just go for the buttons, which is right over here. Again, you can select from theme the default colors. The background color is right over here. Again, the theme and the default. And in case you want to switch to custom colors, go from here, make the selection, and then save. So these are basically the global settings for buttons and headings in WordPress 6.0. This was missing in WordPress 6.1, and this was missing in WordPress 6.0. Now after the global style settings for buttons and headings, the next changes that has been introduced is to the layout option in the style settings in the site editor. And to see this change, let's just go back a little. You can see the layout option is right over here. Let's just click this layout option. And if you have been using the site editor, then you must be familiar with the fact that it only allowed you to change the padding. The content wide and the block spacing are the new options. Now to see this change, let's go back. WordPress 6.0, go back from here, the layout, and you can see the padding option is right over here. However, in the dimensions, there is no other option available, right? And you can see the new option is content wide and block spacing. Okay, so this is another change that you will see in the global site settings in the site editor. Now moving on from the global style settings, another change, this is a very minor change that you will see, is that the preview button here is now the new view button, right? It performs all of the same functions, however the name has been changed to view. You can see this was preview and now this is view in WordPress 6.1. so this is another very minor change that you will see in WordPress 6.1 site editor. Now after the style settings, the next topic that we are going to discuss is the introduction of template part support for classic themes. Okay, now to understand this feature, let's rewind a little and go back to the starting of the template editing, which was WordPress 5.8. Now in WordPress 5.8, an opt-in was introduced where you could use a code snippet and opt into the feature of template editing. Now again, once that feature was enabled using that particular code snippet, what you could do was you could edit templates, add templates in your WordPress site. Again, I've created I've written an article on that. There is a video for that as well. I linked to it in the description box below in case you want to check it out. Okay, now this is a very similar feature. I would call this feature as an extension of that feature where WordPress is trying to merge the gap between the site editor and the customizer based things. So basically this is a hybrid sort of a model that they are trying to create. And here the support for template parts has been introduced for the classic themes. Again, this is an opt-in feature. You will need the code snippet. Now where is that code snippet available? Here is that code snippet. You can see template part support for classic themes. This is the code snippet that you will have to copy. I'll leave a link to this article in the description box below. Now, as mentioned right over here, you will have to add this to the functions.php file or any site specific plugin. If in case you are using plugins to add, the code snippets in your site, so that plugin most likely would come with the feature where you could add this this code snippet to the functions.php file. Now remember, before you start adding this feature to your site and start using this feature, I would recommend that you do not use this feature on a live website. Test this feature out in case you want to give this feature a try, because there are no templates right now, or there are no template paths available in any of the themes as far as I can remember, as far as I know basically. So once those themes come into the hybrid model where they are releasing template paths kind of like, then you should give this feature a try. Okay, now let's just add this feature in WordPress 6.1. now to see this change, what I'm going to do is I'm going to head over to WordPress 6.1 and I'm going to go to themes right over here, and I'm going to activate one of these themes, which is this one, 2021. Okay, I'm going to activate this thing. You can see the site editor is gone. Okay, now let's just head over to the theme file editor, the theme functions or the functions.php file. Go back, copy this code snippet right from here, copy this, go down to the bottom quickly, add this code snippet, update this file, refresh this page, and you can see this new template parts option that comes with this thing. Now let me just open this in a new tab, and you can see this looks very similar to what we have discussed right over here. Where is that? This one, right? Okay, so this is pretty much the same thing, the template paths, you can see, right? So in case your theme comes with the template part option, this is what I was saying before. In case you are using a theme in the coming days that comes with the hybrid sort of a model, give it a try. Okay, in case you want to just see this feature for just experience this feature. So for example, like I am trying it, I haven't done anything with the template paths as of now, so this is just the extent of my testing as well. So in case you want to just give this code snippet a try, feel free to give this code snippet a try, but do not use it on your live website. Use it on a test environment. So that is the thing. Again, link to this code snippet is in the description box below this article. I will leave in the description box below. Again, once you will add this code snippet in the functions.php file of any of the classic themes, remember the classic themes, not the block themes, the classic themes, you will see this new template part option that will come under the appearance menu, and once you will click this option, it will take you to the template parts option, which is a very which is almost exactly very identical to the site editor, right? And once your themes comes with a bunch of template parts, those will be shown right over here. As you can see, no template parts found. So this is a new feature. This is an opt-in feature that you could use by adding a code snippet, and again, link to it is in the description box below. In case you have any queries related to this, feel free to comment down below. Now that you are familiar with the changes to the site editor in WordPress 6.1, the next topic that we are going to discuss is a extension of an already existing feature known as creation patterns in WordPress 6.1. Now, if you have been following, blogging Unplugged, reading our articles, or probably watching our videos, then you must be familiar with the fact that in WordPress 6.0, a feature known as page creation patterns was released, where if you will declare support for block content type if you will declare the support for post content type in a pattern, then it will appear in a modal when you will create a blank page. Okay, so this is a necessity that you will have to declare support for post content type in the pattern, and then only this modal will appear. Okay, this was a push because WordPress was is even prioritizing patterns since the last few updates. They have been actively pushing patterns so that it becomes easier for users to create pages and posts if they are not familiar with the basically using the blocks, so they can use those existing patterns and can edit them as per their requirement. Okay, so this feature basically comes disabled by default because obviously as of now no patterns have declared support for post content type. So with that said, let me show you what exactly is this, what is the basically extension of this feature, and then we'll go from there. We'll create this right now. I'll show you the way you can experience this feature for yourself. Okay, so this is the article, right, where I have this code snippet. You can see right over here. Link to this article is in the description box below. Now for right now, ignore this part. Okay, don't see this part, just focus here, and then we'll go from there, right? So this is the basic header of a pattern. Okay, this is basically a way of implicitly registering patterns in WordPress. So this is another concept that was released in previous WordPress updates. So we'll be using this this method to basically create this pattern quickly, and then I'll show you this feature. Okay, now you can see the block type support is post content. So this was one necessary step. Then I have let WordPress know that show this on post. So this can be pages and this can be custom post type as per your requirement, right? So this part is clear. This is the necessary part, and this is the necessary part. If this is missing, the modal will not appear. Okay, now remember this. Now comes this part. Now how I've created this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new post, and this is an h2. Basically you can see h2, and our background is kind of like blue, so let's just blue, and then hello world. Okay, as simple as that. I'm going to edit it as HTML. Copy this, copy. Now I'm going to create a notepad right over here, notepad, paste it. Now you can see this must be very, very similar. Let me go this thing up and open this now, and you can see this is very, very similar, right? Hello world and hello world, right? So this I have changed the fonts as well, but the font is the same here because I don't want to get into but too much right now, so let it be like this right now. Okay, now what I have to do is I have to add this section right over here, this code snippet on top, right? Copy this and paste it right over here. Okay, the next step is the most necessary one. You will have to remember this. Now I'm saving this. Now look at the directory where I will be saving it. Let me go back a little. So I am in the WP content, where in this website right over here. This is my local setup. Okay, so this is basically your domain. Consider this as your domain, your public.html, and there, I am in the WP contents folder. You can see WP contents folder, and there I will click this. I'll go into themes. I'll select the 2023 theme because I'm using the 2023 theme. Remember this as well. Now I'll go to the patterns directory. In case this patterns directory do not exist, then you can create one. Just add a new folder, name it as patterns. That will be the patterns directory. Very simple, right? Go in, and now I am going to change this thing. Okay, now what I am going to name it as new pattern.php. I'm saving it as a PHP file. Okay, and save. That's it. Now I'm going to go back here. I'm going to close this post. I'm going to leave. Okay, I'm going to add new post. It should appear as a pop-up. It does, right? And I can click this. You can see hello world, right? So this is basically implicit registration of patterns plus the creation patterns feature for you. Again, the code snippet is right over here. Remember that you will have to declare support for post content block type, which is this one, right? And then again you will have to tell WordPress where to display this as well. So for right now it is post. That's why I've added post. In case it is pages, declare it as pages. Custom post type, change it to custom post types. It's up to you where you want to experience this feature, right? Then again, when you will do this, it will show you a model, which is, again, I'll show you. I'll add a new post. And there comes the model. You can select this, choose a pattern. You can see right over here. Okay, again this pattern will be visible here as well. Let me just see. You can see the pattern is visible here as well, so I can click this, right? So it is completely up to you. Whatever is the pattern that you want to that your theme comes with, or you want to include in your theme. In case you want this feature to be active, you can do it this way. This is probably a simple way to experience this feature. I didn't want to go into too much technical details of stuff, so this is the code snippet for you. Again, link to this article is in the description box below. Feel free to check it out. Also, in case you have any queries regarding this, feel free to comment down below, and if you are finding the content helpful, please make sure to like, subscribe to the channel. It helps out a lot. Now moving on from the creation patterns, the next set of changes that we are going to discuss are for the block editor, the editor using which you create pages and posts in WordPress. Okay, so keep this in mind. Now this section is going to be a very long section, so I've divided this section into two parts as well. The first part is where I will be discussing it for the blocks, and the second part is the general changes. Now again, timestamps to every topic covered are in the description box below, so feel free to jump to the topics that you want to. Okay, now the first change that we are going to discuss, or the first improvement that we are going to discuss, have been introduced for the columns block in WordPress 6.1. so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the columns block right over here, and I'm going to add a columns block in WordPress 6.0 as well. Now the first change that you are going to see is that the title of the variations have been changed. So you can see 3070 right over here and 7030 right over here. This has been changed in WordPress 6.1, and these are now 3366 and 6633. Okay, so you notice the changes in the title. These are the new variations. Basically the titles have been changed and nothing else. Okay, and these are the old variations, right? These are the old titles basically. Okay, after this, the next change, which is the big one, is the border support for all sites in columns. Now to show you this change, what I am going to do is I'm going to select this 3-column split right over here. I'm going to select 3-column split right over here. Now first of all, let's just see this change. What exactly is this change? So I'm going to select the main columns block. I'm going to go down and you can see border right over here. I'm going to click this and it will separate all of the sides. So top, right, bottom and left. Right, now I can click this, select the color, you can see right over here, select its width. Okay, 10. Now I'm going to click this color right over here and you can see the styling right over here. You can pick the styling as per your requirements. I'm going to click, so I'm going to pick this one, dashed. Okay, now I'm going to the other side, which is the left. I'm going to pick blue right here. I'm going to add this 20 right over here. Right, I'm going to pick the styling, which is let it be solid. Okay, same for the bottom. I'm going to pick something. I'm going to name it 10. Pick this color. I'm going to keep it 20. Okay, so you can see you can customize the sites based on your requirement. Now this feature was missing in WordPress 6.0, so let's just head over to WordPress 6.0 right over here, and let's just select this main columns block, and you can see you have the ability to style and stuff like that. You can add width, but you cannot basically customize each side of it, right? So you can see right over here. Now again, another thing that you will have to know here is that the inner block, so for example this inner column gets access to this feature as well. You can see, so I can customize the inner columns block as well. So if you do not want to customize the main column block, you just want to customize the child blocks, then you can do that as well. So keep this in mind. Now the last and final change that you are going to see in the columns block, or that has been added to the columns block, is the axial spacing. And to see this change, what I have done is I've selected the main columns block right over here. You can see I've selected it. Okay, then I'm going to head over to dimensions right over here. I'm going to click block spacing. Now as soon as I will click block spacing, you will see there is an unlinked sides icon right over here that allows me to unlink sites, and when I will, it will give me the option to add vertical or horizontal spacing as per my requirements, right? So this is another change that you will see. This is missing in WordPress 6.0, which is right over here. Let's head over to dimensions, block spacing, and you can see you can add block spacing, but the thing is the horizontal and the vertical components are missing. So this is the change that you will come across in columns block. So these are the changes for the columns block in WordPress 6.1. Now the next improvement that we are going to discuss has been introduced for the image block in WordPress 6.1, and this is a very similar change to what we have discussed in the columns block, and it pertains to the borders. Now again, just like columns block, you were able to customize borders as per your requirements for each size. That same exact feature has been added to the image block as well. Now to see this change, what I'm going to do is, what I've done is basically I've added an image block in WordPress 6.1 right over here, and I've added a image block in WordPress 6.0 right over here, and you can see borders are right over here. You can change the radius, however you cannot customize each side. You cannot add the color or the width or the styling, although styling is missing in image block, but you can add colors and the width. Now to see this change, let's head over to WordPress 6.1 right over here, and this is the image block, this is the borders right over here, and I'm going to deselect this, and you can see again a very similar layout to what we have seen in the columns block. Again, the width right over here 20, you can see colors, and you can see colors, and you can see 10, and you can see red, and you can see 20 right over here, and you can see red, and you can see 10 right over here. Now right now you cannot see all of those changes because there is no image that I have uploaded. So let's just upload an image, and you can go right over here. Let's just put this and select, and now you can see, right? So for example, this thing on top needs to be, let's just say blue, right? So you can see right over here that you will be able to customize borders on each sides in image block as well. The only part that is missing is the styling. Rest everything is there. You can change the color, you can change the width as per your requirement. So this is an improvement that you will see for the image block in WordPress 6.1. Now after the image block, the next change that we are going to discuss has been introduced in the gallery block in WordPress 6.1. And yes, there are a few changes and not just one change. And these change and one of these change is very similar to what we have discussed in the columns block, and that is the axial spacing. Okay, now to see this change, let's first head over to WordPress 6.0. You can see I've created a gallery in WordPress 6.1 and 6.0. I've created a very similar gallery. So let's just select this. You can see I've selected the complete gallery block. Let's just open the list view. You can see right over here, right? Again, the block spacing option is right over here, and if I press 0 or press 10, you can see 10. You can see it adds the spacing all around the images in the gallery, right? So you cannot add vertical or horizontal spacing. Now this has changed in WordPress 6.1, and you can go right over here. Let me just select the gallery block. You can see right over here I've selected the complete gallery block, and you can see block spacing. I can delink it, and you can see vertical and horizontal. You can see vertical and horizontal, right? You can see I can add axial spacing to it, right? This is the first change that you will come across. Now the second change that you will come across is the addition of the background color. So you can see right over here in colors, I can add the background color. So I can select this color right over here, and you can see the gallery block now has a background of this primary color, which is this sort of a green, and this option was missing. You can see there is no option to add colors in the background. You can see the gallery block is selected, but I cannot add background color. So this option was missing. The background color option has been added to the gallery block in WordPress 6.1. So these are the changes that you will see. Now after this, the next set of changes that we are going to discuss have been introduced in the color picker or the color panel in WordPress 6.0, and there are a few changes that you will see. So to start off with, what I've done here is I've copied a hex value right over here. Now there is a reason behind this hex value, so ignore this for right now. What I've done is I've added this exact same hex value right over here, and you will know why I've added it. Now to see this change, what we are going to do is I'm going to select background right over here. Okay, and you can see the colors are aligned properly. There is no extra spacing right over here, right? There is nothing extra. Both the sides, the spacing is the same. Now in WordPress 6.0, you can see there is extra spacing right over here, and the spacing here is, it's quite tensed right over here, right? It's quite tight. So this has changed in WordPress 6.1, where the extra spacing from the sides have been removed and additional spacing on both the ends have been added. So it looks pretty slick for right now. It looks nice. It looks even. That's what I'm going to say. Okay, the next change that you are going to see is that now the hex value is directly visible to you. You do not have to select it by clicking. Okay, now to see this change, what I am going to do is I'm going to head over to WordPress 6.0 first, and that's how you will understand this change. And I'm going to select the color picker right over here, and you can see there is nothing that says hex right over here but the value, right? When I will click this right over here, then it will show you that this is a hex value, right? That's how you will know that this is a hex value. It will show you. Now this has changed, and when I will click right over here, it will instantly show you hex, right? Plus there is a button to copy. This button is missing, right? And this button is missing. So this is another change that you will see, that the hex value is now directly visible. You do not have to click for it, right? The last and the final change, that is why this is the thing that I have copied. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to first copy this. Let me just copy this, open this background, click it right over here. I'm going to paste this value. You can see this hash right over here. This is for the hex values. All the hex values have this hash behind it. I'm going to paste it right over here, and you will see the change. And you can see the hash value was automatically stripped. The hash was basically stripped automatically from the value, right? As soon as I have added it, it stripped the hash from the hex value. Now this was not the case before, and I'm going to show you right now. You can see I pasted it. It changes the value, but the hash stays there. Okay, now this hash gets removed as well. As soon as I will click outside, you can see it strips the hash, but now what happens is, as soon as you will add the value, it will strip the hash again. Let's see this change. You can see it does not even show the hash, right? And let's just go back and see once again. I'm sorry, you can see right over here the hash stays, and when I will click outside, it will strip. So this is the change that you will see, that as soon as that you will add the hex value, it will automatically strip the hash from it and will only copy the value. So these are the few changes that you will see in the color picker in WordPress 6.1. Now, while we are on the topic of colors, the color picker, there is a feature known as Duotone filter, and the icon for that feature has been updated in WordPress 6.1. Now this change is a change across multiple blocks that use duotone filter. So the color block, the media and text block, image block, everywhere where you find duotone filter, you will see this new icon. Okay, to show you this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a cover block in both WordPress 6.1. Let me just add it, cover and cover. So let me just click this thing. You can see right over here the duotone filter is this one right over here. Looks like something from the 90s, the television, you know, brightness control that you used to look like this. I don't know if it was there, but here where, you know, in our television, this was kind of like the brightness control that we used to get, but now this is the new icon. This has been changed. It's a black and white triangle that you see right over here, and this looks basically like the duotone filter, right? You can see right over here. This is a change again across multiple blocks. The icon only has changed, rest of the feature is exactly the same. That is why I'm not taking you through it. So you can see this is the new icon and this is the old one. Okay, so this is the change in the duotone filter icon in WordPress 6.1. Now, after the duotone filter, the next improvement that we are going to discuss has been introduced for the paddings and margins in WordPress 6.1, and that is the visualization feature. Now, this is probably one of my most liked features for this update, and you know, using this feature, you will be able to see how basically the padding or the margin is being applied to the block in real time, and you know, you will see how the block behaves once you add it. Now to show you this feature, what I have done is I have added an h2, which is right over here. You can see heading, it is an h2, and I have added basically a background color to it. And similarly in WordPress 6.0 I have done the same thing. Now you will find padding and margins under dimensions, which is right over here, and let me just click this thing. You can see the margin is right over here, so don't worry about it in case padding is not there. You know, you will get the essence of the feature, you will understand the feature. Then you know, it's not related to basically paddings and margins, it's just the visualization, so any of it would work for right now, right? So let me just disconnect this right over here, and when you will add, for example, 60 pixels on top, you will see it goes down, but it doesn't visualize anything for you, right? Now this has changed in WordPress 6.1. So let's head over to dimensions, add padding, and let's just select margins as well. So there was margins in the other in WordPress 6.0. So let's start with margins. Okay, so now you can see how that blue is growing behind the block and how the block is behaving when you add it, right? You can see it's going down, right? Similarly, you can disconnect it right over here, and you can go from here, right? Top right, you can see how it behaves, right? Similarly for bottom and for left, You can see right over here, right? And this is the same case for padding as well, and you can see how it behaves, right? You can see, right? Similarly, you can disconnect it right over here and go from here like this and like this. So basically you get the point. While you're making changes, you can actually see how a block behaves with padding and margin, or when you are adding padding and margin. Okay, so this is a very interesting change that has been, or improvement that has been introduced in WordPress 6.1 for the paddings and margins. Now, while we are on the topic of paddings and margins, Separator Block has received an improvement where, margin control has been added to it. Now, to see this change, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a Separator Block right over here and a separator block right over here. Only if I can type, so I'm going to select this thing right over here and I'm going to open this, and this has been selected, right? So to add margins, dimension controls, and you can see margins, right? Now we can disconnect it and you will see you can add the top margin and the bottom margin. You can see how visualization was working and how you can add top and bottom margins, right? Similarly, in WordPress 6.0, this feature is missing. You can see there are no dimension controls basically, right? So this is the change. Again, margin controls have been added. You will find it under dimensions in WordPress 6.1, and this is WordPress 6.0. You can see it is missing. Even under the advanced tag, you don't find it under the advanced tag. Let's be honest about it, okay? And here you can see under the dimensions, you will have to go to this ellipsis menu right over here, select margins, and then you can change it like this, right? And like this, right? Basically, this is the improvement that has been introduced for the separator block in WordPress 6.1. Now, after the separator block, the next improvement that we are going to discuss has been introduced in the cover block in WordPress 6.1. And to see this change, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add cover block first in WordPress 6.1. And then I am going to add it in WordPress 6.0. And you can see the first difference is the addition of this use featured image option on the placeholder basically, right? And you can see right over here it is missing. Okay, the first change is the addition of this featured image option on the placeholder, and this option is missing. Now the next change that you are going to see again pertains to the addition of featured image, which is the option to add the featured image is right over here in WordPress 6.0. Okay, so this is WordPress 6.0. You can see the option to add the featured image is right over here. You can see this option. Okay, now this option has been moved under add media. You can see right over here. Okay, again let me show you in WordPress 6.0 this option is on the toolbar, and in WordPress 6.1 it's under add media. Now the next change that you are going to notice is that when I this basically post does not have any featured image to it, so when I will select use featured image, it will give me what? A placeholder. It will automatically add a placeholder to it. You can see as soon as I click the option, it basically added that placeholder, and then it was asking me to write a title or something, right? You can see right over here. Now this is not the case in WordPress 6.0. so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this, and you can see nothing changes. The placeholder remains the same because this post also does not have any featured image set, right? So you understand the three differences. The first one is let me just remove this cover block from here and let me add it here, and you can see first is use featured image on the placeholder, that is missing from here, right? The second option is this use featured image option, which is on the toolbar in WordPress 6.2, has been moved under add media right over here. Then the next change is when I will click this featured image option, it will add a placeholder, whereas you will not get this option here. I mean, you will get this option, but placeholder will not be added, right? So 3 changes. Now the fourth change is to the opacity and overlay and opacity, right? So let's head over to the block settings. Right over here you can see the overlay has the option color and the opacity. Now this has changed. Okay, see right over here, the color is, let me select this, the color has now the option overlay and opacity, right? So the opacity is basically for the overlay you are setting the color. So basically overlay is a color and then there is an opacity to it. So that's the flow, right? So they have corrected the flow right over here. You can see again the change. The overlay had a color which had an opacity, right? Take it like this. Now this has changed. The color is basically the overlay and that has the opacity, right? So they have corrected the flow. Basically these are the options for the colors, and basically color is not the option, the overlay and the opacity are the options, right? So these are the changes that you will see in the cover block. Now in case you have any queries regarding this, feel free to comment down below, and if you're finding the content helpful, leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Now, while we are on the topic of a featured image, the next improvement that we are going to discuss has been introduced for the post featured image block. Okay, now to see this change, let's just add this block, post featured image and post featured image. You can see right over here. Okay, so this is post featured image block in WordPress 6.0, and when you will click this option, it will basically attach a link to this featured image which is for this post, and when a user will click it, it will take them to this particular post, right? So this is the function of basically this link setting right over here. Now let's go to WordPress 6.1 and see the change. When you will click this, it will do the same function that I've just described, and what it will do is it will show you 2 new options. The first one is open in a new tab. Selecting this option will open the link in a new tab. Okay, the link of the post, basically the post will open in a new tab, and the next option is link rel. So basically there are 3 attributes for the links, which are the no follow, UGC and sponsored. So you can add them right over here. Now in case you think do follow is an attribute, it is not. Okay, don't get tricked into that system. So there are 3 attributes: no follow, UGC and sponsored. So that's what you can enter right over here. So this is the option for that. Okay, so this is the change. You can see right over here. Again, in WordPress 6.0 these options are missing, and you will only get access to these options when you will click this basically enable this link to post option. Okay, so this is the change for the post featured image in WordPress 6.1. Now after the changes to the post featured image block, the next topic that we are going to discuss is for the social icons block. Now this is a change that I should have discussed while I was on the color picker or the duotone, but somehow I skipped that part. So here it is now. Now to see this change, what I am going to do is I'm going to add a social icon block. So I cannot spell social icon. Okay, so I'm going to add Facebook. Follow me on Facebook because we will be uploading clips for this on Facebook as well. WordPress, and follow on YouTube as well if you are finding the content helpful. WordPress, Facebook and YouTube. Okay, so the first change that you are going to notice is the addition of the background color option. Okay, so I'm going to select this right over here. I've selected the complete block, remember that. Okay, so you can see the color options here available to you are icon color and icon background color. Now I'm not talking about the icon background color, but I'm talking about the social icons block background color, the background color for this complete block. Okay, so this option has been added, and let's just select the social icons block right over here, and you can see the option is missing. You will find this option under the background color, right? There's the option. Click this and this, sorry, this is the option. Okay, it shows up at the top. Okay, now you get the point, and let's just change this thing to this, so we can see and this thing to this, or to black. Yes, now we can see, right? So this is the basically the option. The background color option has been added to the social icons block. So the next change that you are going to see is that there is a new transparency control that has been added. So to see this change, let's just click right over here, select this color right over here, and you can see there is a transparency control right over here. You can see how that works, right? And transparency control is missing right over here. So let's just select this, go right over here, and you can see the transparency control tab is completely missing. Even if when I select hex, it's just missing, right? So you will see there are two changes. The first one is the background color, which is right over here, and the second one is the transparency control, which is right over here, and both of those things are missing. The transparency control is missing from here and the background color is missing from here. There is no option to even to select it, right? So these are the two changes that you will find in the social icons block. Now, after the changes to the social icons block, the next topic that we are going to discuss is the changes to the navigation block in WordPress 6.1. Now, there are a few changes that you will see, and to showcase you these changes, what I did was I've created, I went back in both WordPress 6.0 and 6.1, and I created classic menus. So basically, I switched the themes, then I created menus. Now I have basically reactivated the block themes. Now the first change that you are going to see is that the option to basically manage and create menus or select menus even has been moved to the block settings bar, which is on right over here. Okay, to show you these changes, what I'm going to do is, let's first head over to WordPress 6.0, which is this one, and add the navigation block here. Okay, now here you can see right over here the option to select the menu is right over here. You can see you can select the menus. You can see the classic menu that I've created is right over here. I can select, I can start empty and create a new one. Okay, then managing menus is another option that I'll take you through once I am discussing that change. Now that is another change that I have to discuss, so bear in mind. For right now, the option to select is right over here. The option to create a new one is right over here, and manage menus, I'll come to that option. Okay, now right in here, navigation block in WordPress 6.1, let me just add the navigation block, and you can see it just shows the sample page, and here you can see select menu option is right over here. The option to create a new menu is right over here. So I can basically select this classic menu. If there would have been more menus, then these menus would have been displayed right under here, and the classic menu would have been way lower, like you see over here. Okay, now the next option is the manage menus, and that comes into the context of when you are basically importing a classic menu into a block based menu. Now if you have been following the development of the full site editing in WordPress, then you must be familiar with the fact that when it was released, now it was told that when you will be basically be importing classic menus or menus from the classic themes, then those will be automatically converted into blocks. Okay, that does happen, but in WordPress 6.1 the process has slightly changed. Okay, to show you that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to head over to WordPress 6.1, and I am going to select the classic menu right over here. Now when I will select the classic menu, it will display the classic menu. Okay, now I can go right over here and go to manage menus, right, and you can see the classic menu has already been published. You can see, right, it is a published menu. It is right over here. This menu will be displayed in the front end. Okay, now you have to remember this. Now in WordPress 6.1, if I will select the classic menu, which is menu WordPress 6.1, which I have, and you can see right over here the menu has been imported, and now when I will go to manage menus, you can see the menu is in draft, right? So I will have to make changes to this, or I will have to publish it after importing for the changes to be displayed in the front end. Does that make sense, right? Because they are saying that yes, you have imported the menu and yes, those have been converted into blocks, but you will have to publish it once more so that the changes are reflected in the front end. Now the changes won't be displayed on the front end directly. As soon as you will import, the menu won't be published, so you will have to keep this in mind. Now this means when using block themes and when importing the classic menus or menus from the classic themes, you will have to go to this option to manage menus, and then from there you will have to publish them, okay, for the changes to be reflected in the front end, or for the completion of the import process. So you will have to keep this change in mind, that until and unless you do not publish the classic menu, it won't be transferred, or it won't be converted to a block menu, or the changes basically won't be displayed on the front end for you. So you will have to make changes as per your requirement if required, and you will have to publish that menu. Okay, so this is a change. Again, you can see the menu is in draft right over here, and this menu has already been published. So these are the two main changes that you will come across in the navigation menu in WordPress 6.1. Now moving on from the navigation block, the next change that we are going to discuss has been introduced in the post navigation link block, or you most commonly would know it as the previous or the next post blocks. Okay, in this, what WordPress has done is they have given you the option for selecting colors, text, decoration, and font family. Basically design controls have been added to it. Now to show you this change, what I am going to do is I'm going to add a next block. Next, if I can type, and in the next block you can see the colors options are right over here, and when you go right over here you have the font family, appearance, line height, letter spacing, decoration, and letter case, right? You can see all of these and the color options. Now let's head over to WordPress 6.0, type in the next, and you can see the typography option is right over here, but there are no link options available, right? Let's just click this, and you can see appearance, line height, letter case, and letter spacing is there, but the option of a font family is missing. The decoration, I think so, is missing as well. Yes, the decoration is missing and the font family is missing. You can see font family, decoration, that is missing. Now for the previous post, let me just delete this, right? Previous post, similar, right? The colors are missing and the options are the same. The decoration isn't there, and what else isn't there, and the font family isn't there, right? I just forgot font family. Okay, so you can see right over here. Now let's just delete this from here as well. Type in previous, the color options, you can see all of the colors are right over here. Typography, you can see the decoration is right over here, font family is right over here. So this is the change that you will see in the post navigation link, or the next, or the previous block. Now in WordPress 6.1, the comments or the comment query loop block has received quite a few changes. Now to show you these changes, what I've done is I've added the block right over here in WordPress 6.1. You can select this and you can see comments, and you can select this, the comments query loop. Now first change is this block was known as comments query loop in WordPress 6.0. You can see right over here, right? The name of the block has been changed to comments first of all, right? So this is basically the first change. The comments query loop block is now the comments block in WordPress 6.1. The next change that you will come across is that the typography settings have been added to it. You can see right over here, and you can see it is missing, right? All of the options you will find in typography, font family, appearance, line height, letter spacing, decoration, letter case. Okay, so these are the two changes. Apart from this, the comments block basically has an inner block known as the comment template, which is this one right over here, and this one right over here. Now you can see the typography controls are missing, right? and the typography controls are right over here. So 3 changes. The first is the addition of typography controls in both the comments and the comment template block, which are missing. You can see the comment template typography controls right over here. You can see again everything is right over here, right? And the comment query, this is the comment template block. The typography controls are missing, which is right over here. The second thing is the change of the name, which is, it was comments query loop in WordPress 6.1, but now it is comments, which is right over here, right? So these are the few changes that you will see in the comments block in WordPress 6.1. Now, while we are on the topic of loop blocks, the next change that we are going to discuss has been introduced to the query loop block in WordPress 6.1. Now, to show this change, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a query loop block right over here. I'm going to start blank and select date and title. Okay, so this is what I've selected. Okay, exact same selection. Let me add query loop, start blank, date and title. Right now, the first change or the only change that has been basically been introduced in the query loop blocks is the introduction of a new filter for pages, which is the parents. Okay, now to show you this change, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this post type right over here. I'm going to change it to pages, and you can see as soon as I will change it to pages, the filters are authors and keywords, keyword or keywords, whatever. Okay, so you can see right over here there are only 2 filters available. Now let's head over to WordPress 6.1, go right here, select the post type as pages. Okay, now you can see the filters option has a plus right over here. You need to click this filter and select parents right over here. Okay, so you can see the parents filter was missing in WordPress 6.0 when you selected the pages in the post type. Okay, you can see pages in the post type and filters, you cannot see parents. So this is the new filter that has been introduced in WordPress 6.1 for pages post type. Okay, now after the query loop block, the next set of changes have been introduced to the categories or the categories list block in WordPress 6.1. Now to show you this change, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the categories list block right over here, and I'm going to add the categories block right over here. Now the first change that you are going to see is that the name of the block has again been changed. You can see in WordPress 6.0 it is categories, and in WordPress 6.1 it is the categories list. So basically this name change basically describes the exact purpose of the block, what block is basically doing. So it is a list of categories, so the categories list is much more suited than just categories, right? You can see again the changes: categories list in WordPress 6.1 and categories before WordPress 6.1. Okay, now the next change that you are going to see is an introduction of a new option known as show empty categories. Now clicking this option will display empty categories, right? You can see I have 2 empty categories, category 1 and category 2, and there is no such option to display empty categories. Okay, this option is missing in before basically WordPress 6.1. This option was missing. You can see the option is missing, and you can see the show categories empty categories option is right over here. So these are the 2 changes that you will see, that you will basically find in the categories or the categories list block in WordPress 6.1. Now moving on from the categories, the next change that we are going to discuss has been introduced in the archive block, and that change is a new option known as show label. Now to see this change, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add archive block. You can see right over here archive block and same option archive. Right now, to see this option, what you will have to do is you will have to click display as drop down right over here, and you can see this changes into a drop down, right? But there is no option to disable or enable this label right over here. Now this option has been added in WordPress 6.1, where when you will display as drop down, and you will see an option known as show label, which is this label right on top over here, and on disabling this or deactivating this option, you will see this label will disappear. Now this is the change that you will find in WordPress 6.1 in the archives block. Again, this show label option is missing in WordPress 6.0. Okay, so this is the change that you will see. Now moving on, the next improvement that you will come across in WordPress 6.1 is the addition of inner blocks in two of the most commonly used blocks, which are the list block and the code block. Now to show you this, what I am going to do is let me just add one of these blocks at each time, and then we can go through the change for each. Now starting off with the list block, let me add the list block, which is right over here, and the list block, which is right over here. So let me add a few list items. For example, list item 1, list item 2, list item 3. So you can see as there are 3 list items right over here, and this is the general list block. You can change colors, backgrounds, but you cannot rearrange. Can you see that there is no inner block? Okay, so basically this has changed in WordPress 6.1, and now when you will have this list item 1, and then you will have list item 2 and list item 3, and now what I can do is I can select one of these. So for example, list item 3 has already been selected, and now I can rearrange after this change, and the block, that is the inner block, is known as the list item block. Okay, so this is a list and this is a list item block inside a list block, hence an inner block inside a list block. So to rearrange, what I can do is I can simply click this icon right over here. It says move up, and you can see how easily I was able to arrange these. Let me just click right over here. So you can see the list item 1 is the first one, then the second one is now the third one, and the third one is now the second one, right? So I can again move it right over here. Okay, so this is the first block in which the inner block has been introduced. Okay, so this is the change. Now the second block to which inner block has been added, or the sub block has been added, is the code block. So let me add that code block, and you can see the code block is a common block, right? You can see there is a code that you can add right over here, and then there is a citation which you can add right over here. So let me just add this. This is a code block, and citation we can see WordPress. Okay, and here when I will add this code block, you can see this is a, you can see on top right over here, it is a paragraph block, right? So this is a paragraph block inside quote block. Okay, citation we can add WordPress 6.1, and now you can see the quote is this thing, while the paragraph block is this one. So what this means is I can basically change this color, background color. I can give it a blue background color, and now I can come to the code block. I can give this code block a background color of, let's just say, yellow, and you can see that I could customize this code block as per my requirements, because now the paragraph block is inside the code block, right? So this is the change that you will see, that here is the paragraph block inside of the code block, and here it is just one common code block, right? So this is the change that you will see in WordPress 6.1. Now while we are on the topic of commonly used block, the heading block has received a, a minor change, where where the font family and decoration properties have been added to it. Now to show you this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a heading block right over here, and a heading block in WordPress 6.0, which is right over here, and I will go to typography, click this option, and you can see line height and spacing were unselected, so I have selected them, right? But there is no option to select basically the font family or change the decoration. Right now here in WordPress 6.1, these have been added, and you will have to click this option right over here. You can see font family and decoration. right? Rest all of these are the same. Now again, the fonts are right over here. Now remember, these fonts are the same ones that we saw um, in the site editor. So those are the fonts from which you can basically select and use as per your requirements. So once you are done making changes, just click publish, and that's it. That's what you have to do, right? So this is a minor change that you will see in the headings block in WordPress 6.1. Now another minor change that you will come across in WordPress 6.1 is that the option to edit visually has been added to the block toolbar when you are editing a block as HTML. Okay, now let me show you what I'm talking about then, and then we will talk about this option. So for this, what I am going to do is I'm going to just add a paragraph block, which is this one. So I can just go ahead and write something right over here. This is a paragraph block, and so can I do it here as well. This is a paragraph block. Now the option to edit as HTML is right over here in this ellipsis menu right over here. You can click this right over here, edit as HTML, and you can make the changes to this code over here, and then you can go back once you are done making changes, and this is the option to edit as visually, and you can click it and it will go back to the normal, right? Now this option of edit as visually, let me just go back. This option to edit as visually has been added to the block toolbar right over here when you will edit a block as HTML. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So this is exactly the same paragraph block, but this is in WordPress 6.1. So I am going to edit it as HTML. I have selected, and now you can see this option is right over here. It is missing from here. You can see this is missing from here, this is missing from here, you can see, and this option you will find right over here in WordPress 6.0, and it is available right over here. It has been moved basically on the block toolbar. On clicking, this will take you back, right? So this is a minor change that you will find in WordPress 6.1 if you have been editing blocks as HTML, right? So this is another change. Now moving on, the next improvement that you will come across in WordPress 6.1 is for the block lock feature. Now using this feature, basically what you can do is you can lock certain actions on individual blocks or container blocks or reusable blocks as per your requirement. Now before WordPress 6.1, what was happening was in container blocks such as the group block or the cover block or the media and the text block, what was happening was once you lock this block, the lock settings basically weren't applied to the inner block. So for example, if there is a group block that contains a heading and an image, so what used to happen was the block was locked, but the settings weren't applied to the inner blocks, and what you had to do was you will have to go to those blocks individually, and then you will have to apply basically apply those settings there. To show you this, what I am going to do is I'm going to head over to WordPress 6.0 right over here. Let me open this. I am going to add a group block, and inside the group block I'm going to add a heading block. This is a heading, and after this heading, what I am going to do is I'm going to add an image. Go to the media library and select this, right? Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this group block, and I'm going to basically lock this. I'm going to lock all, select the movement and prevent the removal, and apply right over here. Now you can see, although the group block is locked right over here, however the heading isn't locked and the image block isn't locked, right? So to lock the image block, what I would have to do is I'll have to go back right over here, I have to click lock right over here, and then I have to select this and click apply right over here. Now you can see the image block is locked, but still the heading block isn't locked. Now to apply to this, again the same process, go here, select all, and click apply. Right now, this to some extent deceives the purpose of basically locking a container block. If you are generally if we are locking a container block, then we are we want to apply those settings to the inner blocks as well, in case there is a customization. In case you want to change a certain setting, then what you can do is you can basically go to that particular block and change that setting. That would be much more simpler. Now this is what has changed in WordPress 6.1. now let me show you. So what I am going to do here is I'm going to add a group block. I'm going to open the list view right over here for us to see, and this is a heading, you can see right over here. And now I'm going to add a image block. I'm going to select this image right over here. I'm going to select the group block. I'm going to click lock right over here. I want to click lock all. Now you can see the first change. Okay, this is the new setting that has been introduced. Like if you want to apply this setting to all of the blocks inside, then you can select this and click apply, and you can see all of the blocks get instantly locked. That makes sense, right? So this is a much more better way basically to lock blocks, because if in case this is what I was thinking when I was testing this feature, like right, like if I want to lock a block, then I would possibly want to apply those settings to the inner blocks as well. But if I have to go to each and every inner block or each and every block inside of that container block, then that makes the process much more tedious. And it's better that I could go to an individual block and unlock it as per my requirements, or change the lock settings based on a specific onto specific blocks basically. So this what this basically means is, if there are multiple blocks and I just want to basically keep some of the maybe remove this block lock setting from for example just this block right over here. So this makes the process very simplified for me, rather than doing it on each and every block, applying the lock settings to each and every block. If there are multiple blocks that needs to be locked, this is a much more simpler way of doing things basically. So that's what I want to say here, right? So this simplifies the process if you want to apply the block settings to every block inside, right? So this is a change that you will see, or this is an improvement that you will come across in the block lock in WordPress 6.1. Now, after the block lock feature, the next topic that we are going to discuss is the changes to the block transformation. Now, there are a few changes, and let me show you what are those changes. Okay, so for this, let me just add a cover block right over here and a cover block right over here. Now let me select this cover block, and to transform a block into another, what you can do is you can click right over here, and you can see you can transform a cover block into image, columns, group or video, but you cannot change it to a media and text block. Right now this has changed, and now there is an option available to convert it into a media and text block. So let's just do that. Click it, media and text, right? You can see. Okay, so the first change is this, that now you can basically transform a cover block into a media and text block. Now similarly, the next change that you will come across, the next change that we are going to basically discuss is that now you can transform a media and text block into a cover block. Now what I am going to do is I'm going to click this, remove this cover block, add a media and text block. First of all, right over here, select this right over here, and you can see you can transform it to an image, columns, group or a video. However, you cannot transform it into a cover block. I don't know why this did not exist beforehand, but this makes so much sense that it should be transformed into a cover block, which is right over here, right? So you can select the cover block and it will be transformed into a cover block, right? So this is another change that you will see. Now let's just remove this. Now the next transformation that we are going to discuss is for the code block to the paragraph block. So we are going to add a code block right over here, and let's just try to transform it, and it doesn't get transformed into a paragraph block basically. So you can see right over here, columns block, group block, custom HTML pre-formatted, right? And let's just add a code block right over here. Click this, and you can now transform it into a paragraph block, which is, and the next few options are these, the columns, the group, the custom HTML and pre-formatted. Okay, now moving on, the next change that you will see in block transformation, you just saw it. Now the block transformation menu has been divided into groups, right? There are subgroups. So for example, here you can see transform to columns, groups, custom HTML and pre-formatted, and here you can see that the paragraph 1 is number 1, and then there is this grouping right over here that is just below that, the columns, the group, the custom HTML and the pre-formatted, right? This grouping was missing. So this grouping was missing, you can see right over here and over here, right? Now what are the blocks that are included in the first group, right? The blocks to which you frequently transform, that you would generally transform, right? So those are included in the first group, and the second one is the basically the container blocks, or the or not so frequent ones are in the second group, which are right, that makes sense. Okay, so this is the changes or the improvements that you will see in block transformation in WordPress 6.1. Now moving on from the block transformations, the next topic that we are going to discuss is the changes to the typography controls in the button blocks in WordPress 6.1. Now to show you this change, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a button block right over here, and I'm going to do the same thing, add a button block in WordPress 6.0. So here in typography controls, you can see these already exist in WordPress 6.0, and when I will click this, it will only show you the option for the font family, which is right over here. Now this has changed in WordPress 6.1, and there are other options such as decoration, letter spacing and everything else you will get in the button block now. So to see this, let's head over to here, select the typography control, and you can see the appearance is here: line height, letter spacing, decoration, letter case and font family. Okay, earlier only the font family option was available, which is right over here. You can see I've selected font family. However, there was no other option available, which you can see right over here, but here you get all of the other options as well. So this is the change to the button block in WordPress 6.1. Now after the buttons block, the next topic that we are going to discuss is the removal of redundant names from block settings in WordPress 6.1. Now this change is a change that you will see across multiple blocks. So there is a huge list of blocks, but I cannot show you every block. So I'm going to give you an example of what has changed. Now, first of all, to see that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to WordPress 6.0 right over here. I'm going to add a media and text block. Okay, now when I will select this media and text block, you can see right over here under the media and text block in the block settings, you can see it says media and text settings. Now from these settings, this media and text name has been, basically this block name right from here has been removed, and this has just been changed to settings. Right now, to show you this, let's add a media and text block right over here, and you can see just these settings, right? Exactly. So this is the change. Now in case you are looking for a list of these things, these names of these blocks, then the list is here on this article, which is right over here. Okay, now you can see all of the list is right over here. Similarly, design tools have been added to multiple blocks, you can see right over here, and the complete list is right over here. Okay, so makes sense. These are a lot of blocks across which these changes have been introduced, and I cannot discuss each and every single one of them. So here is the list and here is the change. In case you want to see, I'll leave a link to this article in the description box below. Again, another change is this one, spacing support. You can see right over here. I'll change it to heading. I probably just missed what do we call I just forgot to create a heading out of that thing, so I'm gonna do that. And you can see right over here is all of these blocks, and you can see spacing controls have been added to it. Okay, now again, multiple blocks, multiple changes. Link to this article is in the description box below, feel free to check it out. Now moving on, the next topic that we are going to discuss is the changes or improvements to the publishing panel in WordPress 6.1. Now first things first, what exactly is the publishing panel? Now you can see right over here, This is basically the publishing panel. Now these are the block settings, and this is the publishing panel basically, right? You can see right over here, and this is the publishing panel. Let me click this, right? This is basically the publishing panel using which you basically publish an article. Okay, now there are quite a few changes that you will see. Now first things first, let's talk about the basic changes that you can see. The first one is now the option to change the permalink or the URL slug is right over here. Okay, now this was right over here, right? You can change the URL slug right over here. The option was right over here. Okay, now this is the option basically. Now I have created a scenario here where when I will click this, it will not allow me to change it. Okay, so you can see right over here, it does not allow me to change it. Now there is a reason behind it, and that reason is I have selected the wrong permalink structure. This permalink structure does not allow me to change it. Okay, now to see this in action, what I have to do is I'll have to go to these permalink settings right over here. You can see right over here, this is the plain permalink structure that I have selected right now. That is not allowing me to select. Now what I am going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and select a post name right over here and save changes. Now I'm going to go back here and I'm going to refresh. And when I will click this, you can see I will be able to change it. Now the second change that you are going to come across in the permalink structure or the URL slug section is that, you know, earlier this, you can see right over here, it is here, and the option to change basically is right below it. You will have to click this tab and it will open this sort of an option where you will get this space where you will be adding the permalink structure. Right now it comes up as a popover. You can see right over here, right? So this is the second change. Now the third change that you are going to come across is a very similar one, and that is for the templates, which is right over here. You can see the templates have been moved up from here to here. Again, let me just show you. Let me just close this. You can see the templates is right over here, and it has been moved to somewhere here, right? You can see. Okay, now when I will click this option, you can see it says default template right over here, and exactly the same thing it says right over here. However, it is in a it is again a popover. Now the option to add, if you are thinking where is the option to add, this is the option to add, right? The option that you see right over here, new template, is this one over here. Right, makes sense. In case you have any queries related to this, feel free to comment down below. Okay, now the next change that you are going to see, and it is a visible one, and that is, you know, you can see right over here, the author box and the move to trash button are now full width. Right, you can see right over here. Let me just close this. You can see the author box is not full width and move to trash is not full width. Both of these are now full width right over here. Now the next change that we are going to discuss is an interesting one and has been introduced to the date and time panel. Okay, now in case you are not familiar with the date and time panel, then you can click right over here and it will open the date and time panel, and this is very useful thing when it comes to basically a useful option when it comes to, you know, scheduling your post. Okay, and you can see again this panel is right over here. Now there are quite a few changes that you can instantly spot. Okay, the first thing is it has a heading right now with an option of now. Clicking this option will select the current time, right? This option is missing right over here, and the heading is missing as well. The second change that you are going to spot is that the reset option and the calendar help is gone, right? You can see the reset option and calendar help is gone. The third thing is that now the panel looks much more, you know, cleaner because date and time has been separated, right? So you can see right over here, the date and time have been separated. There are separate headings for that as well, right? You can see right over here. Now the next change that you are going to come across is that when you will schedule a post for tomorrow, so for example it says February 9th right over here. If I schedule it for February 10th, okay, and I will just click right over here, it will show you tomorrow. This feature was missing, right? So this is really helpful if you have selected the right time zones. Now in case you are wondering from where you can change the time zones, then you will have to go to WordPress general settings, which are right over here, settings and then general. Okay, and here you can select your time zones. This is the option basically, right? So this is the option using which you can do that. Select your exact time zone from where you are sitting, and then you will be able to schedule your posts easily. That's what I'm trying to say, right? So these are the changes to the basically to the publishing panel. You can call it the post publishing panel or the page publishing panel as well. So these are all of the changes. Now in case again you have any queries regarding this, feel free to comment down below. Now after the post publishing panel, the next topic that we are going to discuss is the addition of time to read in the information panel. Now in case you are wondering where you can find the information panel, then that is right over here. You can see this is the details option right over here. Okay, now let's first head over to WordPress 6.0 and see what this information icon shows, right? And you can see it shows the number of characters, words, headings, paragraphs and blocks. You can see nothing is there, so everything is zero except paragraphs and blocks, right? Now in this panel you will find the option of, or basically the information about time to read. Now let's just click this right over here and it shows time to read. Now this is the new thing or new information that you will that has been added in WordPress 6.1 in the information panel. Now in WordPress 6.1, two new shortcuts have been introduced, and one of the another shortcut that was released in WordPress 6.2 has been added to that shortcuts panel. Now to show you this change, what I am going to do is I am going to open the shortcuts panel from here. Okay, you can go right over here and click keyboard shortcuts right over here. It will open this modal right over here. Okay, and then you will have to go to text formatting, and this is where you will find all of the changes, or two new shortcuts and one that was released has been added to this list. Now the first one, which is the old one, insert a link to a post or a page. This is the shortcut that was introduced in WordPress 6.2. however it wasn't added to this list in WordPress 6.0, so now it has been added. You can find it right over here. I'll show you this again, but for right now you can see right over here, and this is the shortcut, right? Now the next one is the strike through. You can see this is the new shortcut, and the next one is the make selected text inline code, which is this one, right? Okay, so two new shortcuts. The new shortcuts are inline code and the strike through feature, which is right over here. And the earlier one that was released in WordPress 6.0 and has been added in this list in WordPress 6.1 is the insert link. This is the one, right? Using this, basically you can insert links to pages and posts instantly, right? When you will press this square bracket button twice, it will show you a list of posts, right? That makes the internal linking process much more easier. So that's the thing, right? Again, where you can find this, you can click this ellipsis menu right over here in the block editor. Click this, click keyboard shortcuts right over here, and you will find all of those shortcuts. So here you can find the global shortcuts, the selection shortcuts, the block shortcuts, the text formatting shortcuts, and here you will find the two new ones and an older one that was released in WordPress 6.0. So this is another new thing that you will see in WordPress 6.1. Now moving on from the shortcuts, the next topic that we are going to discuss is an introduction of a new feature that is known as always open list view. And when you will enable this feature, it will open the list view by default. So this means, for example, for right now, when I will add a new page, so I can go right over here, I can select this and I can add a new page. And you can see right over here the list view is disabled by default, right? This is the list view. It doesn't come open by default, right? So I can close this right now. Okay, now there is this option that has been introduced in the preferences model that will allow you to open this list view by default. So this means when you will add a new page, the list view will be open by default, right? Now to see this change or this new option, what you can do is you can go to this ellipsis menu right over here, click the preferences model right over here. Under the general, you will have to select this general tab right over here, and it will show you this option, always open list view. Click this and close it. Okay, nothing happens right now. Now you can go right over here and add a new post or a page, and you can see the list view is open by default. Now this is an existing post that I have I have been saving as draft. I have been using it to basically show you the changes. So this post also does not have the list view open by default, right? So I can refresh it and you can see now the list view is open by default, right? Does that make sense? So when you will when you will enable this option and you will try to edit an existing page, it will open list view by default. So you will have to click close this list view. If you will add a new page, you will have the list view open by default. So this is the new feature that has been introduced in the preferences. You can disable this feature. Basically this feature comes disabled by default. You can enable it if you use the list view to navigate. I use it sometimes because that is really helpful. So keep this change in mind in case you're looking to use it. Okay, so these are all of the changes. In case you have any queries regarding these, feel free to comment down below. Okay, I'll try and help and answer whatever I can with best of my capacity. Now I hope you will find this video helpful and are now familiar with all of the new features and changes included in the WordPress 6.1 update. Now if you did, then make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel and turn on the post notification bell. Now in case you have any queries, feel free to comment down below and I will try and help. Also, the links to our socials are in the description box below, along with the link to the article that we have done on WordPress 6.1 that contains all of the code snippets. Feel free to check it out if you want to. Okay, and also follow us on other platforms as well, because that helps out a lot. And with that said, thank you for watching and I will see you in the next video.